When I look at this view of the veg garden, it looks fantastic. There's beans and beetroot and potatoes and peas and leeks and all manner of things. It just looks great. And that's the bit I want to focus on, because once you turn round and look the other way, it's weeds and weeds and more weeds and grass that's now nearly waist high. I do feel a bit, I feel very daunted by all this actually, and I feel a bit overwhelmed by just how much there is to do, and I wish I could embrace it. I want to embrace it and go, oh, it's lovely, it's part of nature. Yeah, of course it's part of nature, but this should have my food growing in it by now. So I feel like I have to remember that I've actually achieved an awful lot, but this is a bit of a downer, isn't it? No, I'm going to take a different view. Yeah, I do feel a bit overwhelmed by the amount there is to do, but look at the colour of these grasses. They're beautiful. There's mauves, and look at how fresh that looks. That creamy green against the mauve in the background. It's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So, this is my thought. It's full of weeds, the grass is too high, I feel a bit overwhelmed by it, but think how good this is for the wildlife. There must be masses of things living in this, and hopefully some of them are good things. Hopefully there'll be pollinators and predators of greenfly and things like that living in it. So it's stunning, beautiful colours. We had this in the area behind the piggeries last year, and we really enjoyed it. And this year we chose to keep that area short, so maybe it's quite nice that there is something here that is just so beautiful and so wild. I'm sitting here with a hedge of broad beans behind me. They're not really 6 foot high. I'm sitting on the floor, but I did want to show you how well the broad beans are doing. Sort of. They've grown really well and they've got loads of flowers on them, but they've also got the dreaded black fly. Now this is probably my fault. I should have pinched out the growing tips sooner, and because that's the bit that's attractive, and the black fly can smell, and they come in their millions to eat the soft growing tissue of the broad bean tips. So, job for either later this evening or tomorrow morning is to pinch out about the top 4 inches ish from each plant, and that will help them set seed, and it will also hopefully make the black fly go away. Now I realise I'm being a bit optimistic, thinking it'll make the black fly go away. What I do need to do is go and look up in my trusty old book and find out whether I can spray this lot with a very weak soap solution and wash off those black fly once I've pinched out the growing tips. But I'm not going to try it without checking in my book first. At the opposite end of the garden to the broad beans are the peas and mange too. Oh, well, there's a few more broad beans, but they're a second flush. But the mange too, we've been picking for about 4 or 5 days now, and I've already started putting some in the freezer. Did you know there's not many plants here? There's 24 plants, and they're supported by a few pea sticks. Actually, they're supported by a few bits of twisty willow. But as you can see, we have definitely got Mange 2 pods. There's another one. There's a broad bean pod, but it's not ready yet. So each day I'm just coming along and harvesting a few peas, well, a few of the Mange 2, and then hopefully, because I'm keeping on picking them, the flowers will keep on coming and we'll get more of a crop. They're a super easy crop to grow. You just bung them in the ground and away they go. The hardest bit about them is actually spotting them all to be able to harvest them. I'm picking up 2 or 3 handfuls like this a day, and I'm waiting till they're around this size, about somewhere between 3 and 4 inches long and a ½ inch or so wide. My peas, on the other hand, have been tricky this year, or they've been trickier. So the first batch that I sowed into the ground here, straight into the ground, and this is a 15-foot row along here, and two single plants came up of the about 150 peas that I put in there. So that, I think, could count as a fail. And what's in there now are some that I started off in trays and then transplanted. Now, peas aren't a lover of being transplanted, really. They don't like root disturbance, but I had to do something to try and replace the ones that didn't happen. This little beauty was one of the ones that was in the ground, and that's romping away and doing really well. And in fact, even some of the ones that I've transplanted are looking pretty good. And some of them have been nibbled, and the nibbling, well, it's not inevitable. It's pea and bean weevil or flea beetle or one of those. It's those little bright shiny chaps that carve little notches out of the edge of it. Well, it's not the end of the world, and as long as the plants survive, which I think they're going to, we'll still get a crop. So that's not a problem. If it looks like it's going to be an issue, I will dust down the row with some diatomaceous earth, and I will pick any off that I see. But seeing them is a bit of a tricky business. So no big project for me today. Phew, thank goodness for that. And I'm accompanied by Big White. So I've done quite a lot of small bits and pieces that needed doing, which is actually quite satisfying at the end of the day to be able to tick lots of little bits and pieces off my list of to do. And now, as evening unfolds, I'm going to spend a little bit of time with the chickens, and I'm just relaxing. I've just thrown a few pellets on the ground for them, and honestly, you'd think that they've never been fed. And these boys and girls have access to food all day long. They can just go and help themselves from the feeder anytime they want to. And the bucket is about 2/3 full at the moment, and it's a 3-gallon bucket. So they've got a vast amount of food. Chickens are funny things, they really are. And to prevent any squabbling, I've also thrown some down on the floor here, and then Big White decided he'd help himself out of the bucket, and it's gone everywhere. But these two behaving like they've never been fed, and yet they can help themselves from their hanging bucket anytime they like. Chickens, eh?